In the small, lively village of Osu, there lived a young woman named Abe. Abe was beautiful, kind-hearted, and known for her mysterious nature. But what really set her apart was something no one else in the village knew at first. Abe was born with both male and female parts. Because of this, she felt different from everyone else. Sometimes, Abe was attracted to women, and sometimes to men, but she kept this a secret, fearing how the villagers would react. Abe's life took an unexpected turn when she began feeling close to a young woman named Nena, who was as beautiful as the rising sun. Nena's laughter was like the melody of a flute, soft and sweet, and she had a smile that could make even the hardest heart soften. They spent more and more time together, wandering through the forest, laughing, and sharing stories by the river. But soon, their friendship turned into something deeper, something even Abe could hardly explain. One day, Nena whispered to Abe, "I think I love you." Abe's heart leapt, for she felt the same. They shared a secret embrace by the river, and, for a while, everything felt perfect. But Abe was not the only one drawn to others. She also grew close to some of the men in the village, and her secret relationships began to spread quietly like shadows in the moonlight. Months passed, and Abe thought her secret was safe, until one day, Nena came to her with worry in her eyes. "Abe," she whispered, "I have not seen my monthly flow for 3 months. I think I might be carrying a child." Abe's heart pounded. How could this be? The thought of Nena carrying her child was both thrilling and terrifying. She tried to calm Nena, but deep down, she feared what would happen if the villagers discovered the truth. News spread quickly in Osu, like fire on dry grass. It wasn't long before the whispers reached the ears of the village chief, Vate. One evening, while Abe was tending to her small farm, she saw 2 village guards approach her with stern faces. "Abe," one of them said, "the E's request your presence in the village square." "Come now." With a heavy heart, Abe followed the guards, knowing the moment she feared had arrived. As she walked into the square, she saw all the villagers gathered, their faces filled with curiosity, confusion, and whispers that filled the air like buzzing bees. Vate sat on a wooden throne, his face grave. Beside him stood the village's wise herbalist, Vate, an old man with a beard as white as chalk and eyes that seemed to see through secrets. "Abe," Vate's voice echoed through the square, "we have heard troubling news. Nena, one of our own, claims to be with child, and she says you are the father." Gasps spread through the crowd as everyone turned to look at Abe, confusion and disbelief in their eyes. Abe felt her heart pound as she stammered, I can explain." But the E's held up his hand. "Enough. We have brought Vate, our herbalist, to understand this mystery. He will examine you, and we will find the truth." The villagers murmured, anxious to know what Vate would say. The old herbalist approached Abe with a kind but serious look. He placed his hand on her shoulder and whispered some words in a language only he knew. Then he looked at her with wise, piercing eyes. After a long, tense silence, Vate turned to the E's and the villagers. "Abe," he said slowly, "was born with the spirit of both man and woman. She carries a power that is rare, something not seen in many lifetimes." The villagers gasped, some in fear, others in awe. "What does this mean?" asked one of the elders. Vate continued, "Abe is both the gift of life from a woman and the strength of a man. This is why she could father a child, even though she appears as a woman." The villagers erupted into chatter, some whispering that she must be cursed, others saying it was a sign from the gods. But Vate raised his hand to silence them. "This power," he warned, "is dangerous if misunderstood. Abe has a special purpose, but only if we respect and protect her. If we anger the spirits, Osu may face hardship." Vate listened carefully, then turned to Abe. "Is this true, Abe? Were you aware of this power?" Abe nodded, her voice trembling. "Yes, I have known for a long time but kept it hidden. I didn't know it would lead to this. I never wanted to harm anyone. The ease looked deep into Abe's eyes, sensing her fear and sadness. What should we do? Onward, he asked. Onward, I paused, a deep, mysterious look in his eyes, then said, Abe must go on a journey to discover her true purpose. There are answers she needs to find, and it may be the only way to keep the village safe. The crowd buzzed with worry and wonder. What journey lay ahead for Abe? Would she find the answers she needed? And most of all, what would become of Nena and the child she carried? The suspense hung thick in the air as the village waited for the next chapter in Abe's mysterious story to unfold. The village square was silent as Abe stood before the crowd, feeling a mix of fear and determination. Nena stood not far away, clutching her belly protectively, her eyes filled with both worry and love for Abe. Abe couldn't believe this was happening. She was now standing before her people, the truth of her hidden life laid bare for everyone to see. Onward cleared his throat, his old voice cutting through the tense silence. This journey Abe must take is not just for her. It is for the safety of Osu itself. Abe's path will lead her to the sacred mountain of Nweyoma, where it is said that spirits dwell. Only there will she find answers. The villagers gasped. Nweyoma Mountain was feared and respected by all. People said it was haunted, filled with spirits who guarded ancient secrets. Abe felt a shiver run down her spine. Would she really be brave enough to journey to Nweyoma? She looked over at Nena, whose gaze was filled with hope and sadness, and she knew she had no choice. Ease Adam turned to Abe, his voice solemn. Tomorrow, at dawn, you will leave Osu and begin your journey to Nweyoma. You must return with answers. And until then, Nena will remain under my care. The crowd whispered again, but Abe barely heard them. All she could think of was the journey that lay ahead, and the fear that grew in her heart like a dark shadow. That night, as Abe lay awake in her small hut, she thought about everything that had happened. She remembered the day she first realized she was different from everyone else. She remembered the fear she felt, and the way she had kept her secret hidden for so long. But now, that secret was out, and her life had changed forever. As the first light of dawn crept through her window, she gathered her things, a small pouch of herbs, a knife, and a piece of cloth Nena had given her as a keepsake. She held the cloth to her chest, breathing in Nena's scent and feeling a surge of courage. Just as she stepped outside, she saw Nena waiting for her by the path leading out of the village. Abe, she whispered, tears in her eyes, be strong. I know you will find the answers you seek. I will wait for you, as long as it takes. Abe embraced Nena tightly, feeling the warmth of her love give her strength. I'll come back, Nena. I promise. With one last look at her beloved, Abe turned and began her journey toward Nweyoma. The path to Nweyoma was long and treacherous, winding through thick forests and rocky hills. Abe moved carefully, keeping her eyes sharp and her senses alert. Each step brought her closer to the mountain, and yet her mind was filled with questions. Would she really find answers there? And what would those answers mean for her and her child? As the day turned to evening, Abe stopped to rest near a small stream. She was drinking some water when she heard a rustling in the bushes nearby. Her heart raced as she grabbed her knife, ready to defend herself. But out of the bushes stepped an old woman, her hair white as snow and her face wrinkled but wise. The woman looked at Abe with a strange smile. "Ah, so you are the one they sent," she said, her voice soft but powerful. Abe was startled. Who are you?" The woman chuckled. "I am Zeka, the keeper of Nweyoma Mountain. I have been waiting for you, Abe. The spirits whispered of your arrival. They said you carry both strength and sorrow in your heart." Abe felt a chill run down her spine. "Yes, I am here to find answers. I am different from the others, and I need to know why." Nzeka nodded, her gaze deep and knowing. "Come, child, I will guide you to the place where the spirits speak. But remember, the answers you seek may not be what you expect, and the truth may come at a cost." Abe followed Nzeka through a narrow, winding path that led deeper into the forest. As night fell, The trees seemed to whisper around them, shadows stretching like long fingers. They finally reached a clearing where a massive, ancient tree stood, its branches twisted and reaching toward the stars. Nzeka placed her hand on the tree and began chanting softly. The air grew thick, and a strange light seemed to glow from the roots of the tree. A bear felt a pull, as if the tree itself was calling to her, drawing her closer to its secrets. "Sit here," Nzeka said, pointing to a small patch of grass at the foot of the tree. "Close your eyes and listen with your heart." A bear did as she was told, and soon she felt herself slipping into a trance. She could hear voices, soft and distant, like the echoes of a river far away. Images began to form in her mind, visions of spirits, ancient and powerful, who spoke in whispers. "A bear," a deep voice called. "You carry the gift of both the feminine and masculine. It is a rare power, one that can bring balance or chaos, depending on how it is used. But there is more to your story." A bear felt a surge of energy as she listened, her heart pounding. "Tell me, why was I born this way?" The spirits continued, their voices intertwining like a song. "In a time long past, your ancestor angered a powerful deity, a god of duality, who cursed your bloodline. This curse gave you the essence of both man and woman, forever marking you as different. But it was not meant as punishment. It was meant as a test." A bear gasped, her mind reeling. "A test?" "Yes," the spirits whispered. "A test to see if you would use this power to harm or to heal, to love or to hate. Your journey is not just about you, a bear. It is about breaking the curse on your family and freeing future generations from its burden." As a bear absorbed this revelation, she felt a new weight settle upon her. She was no longer just a woman from Osu. She was the key to breaking an ancient curse. But before she could ask more, the vision faded, and she found herself back by the tree, with Nzeka watching her carefully. "What did you see?" Nzeka asked, her eyes intense. A bear's voice trembled as she replied, "I saw my ancestor, a curse. I am meant to break it, to end this for my family." Nzeka nodded. "Then your journey is far from over. You must return to Osu, but be careful. Not everyone will be willing to accept your power. And remember, Abe, sometimes the greatest battles are fought not with weapons, but with love." Abe stood, feeling both afraid and empowered. She was ready to face whatever awaited her back in Osu, but she knew that her return would not be easy. What would the villagers say? And how would Nena and her unborn child fit into this mysterious destiny? As she began her journey back to the village, Abe felt a new fire in her heart. She was ready to face the truth, no matter how hard it would be. But deep down, she wondered, would love truly be enough to break a curse? As Abe made her way back to Osu, she felt the weight of her newfound purpose pressing down on her. She was no longer just a person living on the edges of the village. She was the key to ending a curse that had haunted her family for generations. Her heart ached at the thought of returning to the villagers who once looked at her with confusion and fear. Would they see her differently now? Could she convince them that her purpose was to bring peace and not harm? When Abe reached the outskirts of Osu, the sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the village. She paused, taking a deep breath, then began walking toward the center of the village where she knew the ease and the elders would be. But she had barely taken a few steps when a group of children spotted her and ran ahead, shouting, "A bear is back! A bear has returned!" The villagers gathered quickly, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear, curiosity, and hope. Ezedim was seated once again on his wooden throne in the village square, and beside him stood Onwadai, the wise herbalist who had sent her on the journey. Nena was there too, her eyes lighting up with relief when she saw Abe. She clutched her belly, which had grown since Abe had left, and Abe felt a swell of love and resolve. This was not just about her anymore. It was about the future she would build with Nena and their child. "Abe," Ezeddim's voice boomed across the square. "You have returned from Wayoma. Did you find the answers we seek?" Abe took a deep breath, stepping forward to address the crowd. "I did," she said, her voice clear and strong. "The spirits revealed the truth of my existence. I carry the curse of my ancestor, one who angered a powerful god of duality long ago. I was born with both the strength of a man and the life-giving power of a woman. This curse has marked my family line for generations, but I have the power to break it. I need your help." The crowd murmured in shock and wonder, their gazes shifting from Abe to one another. Some looked afraid, others hopeful. But one voice rose above the crowd, a voice laced with anger and suspicion. "Why should we believe you?" shouted Chima, a loud and brash villager known for stirring trouble. "How do we know this isn't another one of your tricks? You've always been strange, hiding secrets, and now you expect us to welcome you as a hero." Abe felt her heart sink, but she stood firm. "I know I've been different, Chima. I've lived with this secret all my life, and I kept it hidden because I feared what people would think. But now, I'm here to face the truth, not hide from it. If you will let me, I can show you that my power is a blessing, not a curse." Adam raised his hand to silence the crowd. "Enough. We will listen to Abe. She has returned with the knowledge we sought. We owe her a chance to prove herself." Onwadai, who had been listening quietly, spoke up. "There is a way to lift the curse," he said, his eyes glinting with wisdom. "But it will require more than words. Abe must undergo a trial, one that will test the strength of her heart and spirit. If she succeeds, the curse will be broken. If she fails—" He trailed off, and everyone felt a chill in the air. "What is this trial?" Abe asked, her voice steady. Onwadai looked at her gravely. "You must enter the sacred grove of Oji River, where the spirits are strongest. There, you will be confronted by visions of your past, the pain and fear that haunt you, and the doubts that have weighed on your heart. If you can overcome these visions and find the courage to forgive yourself and your ancestor, the curse will be lifted. But if you cannot, you may be lost to the spirits forever." Abe swallowed hard, feeling a mixture of fear and determination. She knew this journey would not be easy, but she had come too far to turn back now. She looked at Nena, who nodded, her eyes full of love and encouragement. "I'll do it," Abe said, her voice unwavering. Adam nodded solemnly. "Then you will enter the sacred grove at dawn tomorrow. Tonight, prepare yourself, and know that the village stands with you." That night, Abe and Nena sat by the river, the moon casting a silvery glow over the water. Nena took Abe's hand, squeezing it gently. "I believe in you, Abe. You are stronger than you know. Whatever happens tomorrow, know that I will always love you." Abe leaned her head on Nena's shoulder, feeling a rush of warmth and gratitude. "I've been so afraid of who I am," she whispered. "But being with you has given me courage I never thought I'd have. I'm doing this for us, for our child, and for everyone who comes after." They sat together in silence, letting the sounds of the night soothe their hearts. The next morning, as the first light of dawn broke, Abe stood at the edge of the sacred grove, her heart pounding. The air was thick with an eerie silence, and the trees seemed to loom over her, casting long shadows across the ground. Behind her, the villagers gathered, watching anxiously. Adam, Onwadai, and Nena stood closest, their faces filled with a mixture of hope and worry. Onwadai placed a hand on Abe's shoulder. "Remember, Abe, this trial is not just about strength. It is about forgiveness and understanding. The spirits will show you your deepest fears and regrets. Face them with an open heart, and you will find the strength to lift the curse." Abe nodded, taking a deep breath before stepping into the sacred grove. The moment she crossed the threshold, the air grew colder, and a strange mist began to swirl around her. Shadows danced on the edge of her vision, and she felt a powerful presence all around her. As she walked deeper into the grove, she began to see visions, images from her past, her fears, and her pain. She saw herself as a child, alone and confused, hiding from the other children who teased her for being different. She saw the hurtful words, the shame she felt, the times she wished she could be like everyone else. Then she saw her ancestor, a proud, fierce woman who stood before a shrine, her face twisted with anger as she cursed the god who had denied her love. Abir felt the pain and rage of her ancestor flow through her, and she understood the depth of the curse that had been placed on her family. The spirits began to speak, their voices echoing in her mind. Do you see, Abir? This is the burden your ancestor left for you. Can you forgive her for the choices she made? Abir's heart ached as she watched her ancestor's anger, but she also saw the pain that lay beneath it, the longing for acceptance, the heartbreak of rejection. She took a deep breath, speaking softly. I forgive you. You did what you thought was right, even if it cost us all dearly. I release your pain, and I choose love over anger. As the words left her lips, the vision shifted, and she saw herself in the future, standing with Nena and their child, surrounded by villagers who welcomed her with open arms. Abir felt a warmth fill her chest, and she knew she was ready to accept who she was. In that moment, the mist began to fade, and she heard the spirits whisper one last message. The curse is broken. Abir, go, live a life of love and truth. When she emerged from the sacred grove, the villagers held their breath, watching her with wide eyes. Abir looked at Nena, who was smiling, tears of joy in her eyes. Abir nodded, a smile breaking across her face. It is done, she said, her voice filled with strength and peace. The curse is broken. The crowd erupted into cheers, and Nena ran to embrace her. As Abir held Nena close, she felt the weight of generations lift from her shoulders. She was free, free to live, to love, and to be herself, no longer bound by the pain of the past. Abir's journey had not just been one of survival but of transformation. She had found her place, her purpose, and a love that would carry her forward into a new life. And with her by their side, the people of Osu knew that no curse could ever shadow their future again.